Hello ladies and gentlemen, Tevaron here and welcome to another episode of Friday Night Magic. This week we are going to be playing someone else's deck for several reasons. The most relevant being that I just haven't had enough time to test this week due to real life concerns. Plus I'm getting ready to do a little bit of traveling coming up and have been trying to get a backlog of videos so that stuff can go up on the channel while I am gone. Also, the Magic Duels metagame is kind of stale right now, and to be honest, I don't know if I could have come up with something new, even if I had had as much time as I usually do. So we're going to play Red Deck Wins by Haven_PT, and I will put a link to his deck list on Magic Duels Helper in the description below. I've only made one change to the deck, and we'll get to that when I get there. We are running a lot of 1-drops here. We're running 2 Goblin Glory Chasers, which is a renowned creature, and when it's renowned, it has Menace. Also, 3 Insolent Neonates that come with Menace without any other qualifications necessary, and we can sacrifice it to discard a card and draw a card. Then 2 Bomat Courier, our old familiar friend. When it attacks, we exile cards, and then we can pay a red and sacrifice it to discard our hand and take those cards that are exiled into our hand. Also running a full set of Titan's Strength, +3/+1, Scry 1. The Scry 1 is really relevant, as well as the casting cost. There is another card in Magic Duels, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, that's 2 mana and gives +3/+1 and trample, but it doesn't have the Scry and it costs 1 more mana. Also, 2 Abbot of Keral Keep, pseudo card draw here. Prowess, of course, to get in a little bit more damage, and when it enters the battlefield, we exile the top card of our library, and until end of turn, we can play that card. Next up, we have 3 Thriving Grubs, a little bit of energy synergy in the deck. I'm a poet and didn't know it. Anyway, also can grow on energy or provide energy for some of our other effects to feed off of. We are running 2 Smuggler's Copter, the vehicle du jour, and 2 Harness Lightning. This is one of the cards that I think might want a full playset, one more in here, but I haven't done enough testing with the deck to get to that conclusion yet. But it is creature removal. We do wish that there was a bit more quality burn in Magic Duels that we could point at the opponent's face, though perhaps in Aether Revolt we may get some of that, as there's been 2 pretty good burn spells spoiled so far. The most exciting to me being Shock. Just a 1 mana spell that deals 2 damage to target creature or player. Also, 2 Lathnu Hellions. 3 mana, 4/4 with haste, although you have to pay 2 energy at the end of your turn to keep it around. And 2 Hanweir Garrison, 3 mana for a 2/3. Whenever it attacks, we get 2 1/1 red human creatures attacking onto the battlefield, and it can meld with Hanweir Battlements, which is in the deck, and form Hanweir the Writhing Township, a legendary 7/4 with trample and haste, and when it attacks, we put 2 3/2 Eldrazi horrors onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. Then we are playing 3 Brazen Scourge, a 3 mana 3/3 with haste. 4 Fiery Tempers. We don't have an incredible number of discard outlets in the deck, but Fiery Temper is able to be pointed at the opponent's face, so that is good. It also gets the nod over Touch of the Void, as it is an instant and occasionally can be madnessed. Also, 2 Exquisite Firecraft, 3 mana for 4 damage, and if we have Spell Mastery, then it can't be countered by spells or abilities. Also, 2 Collective Defiance, 3 mana, a very versatile card with Escalate of 1 mana. We choose 1 or more. For each beyond the first, we have to pay 1 additional mana. A target player discards all the cards in his or her hand, then draws that many. 4 damage to a creature or 3 damage to a player. This is the change that I have made to the deck. One Akoum Firebird. In the original list, there was one Bedlam Reveler, and over the 15 or so games that I played, Bedlam Reveler got stuck in my hand so many times that I just didn't want it in the deck anymore, and I played a few games with Akoum Firebird, and it did make an appearance in several of them and felt much better to me. And though we don't want the game to go long, its landfall ability of being able to be recurred is relevant if the game happens to go long. Then we are playing 2 Impetuous Devils, which is a pseudo ball lightning of sorts. For 4 mana, we get a trample haste 6/1, and when it attacks, you can force one target defending creature to block it. So it's a pseudo removal as well as pseudo direct damage in the deck. And then the very last card is Chandra, Torch of Defiance. I don't think this lady needs any introduction. She's not as good as people originally thought she was, however, she's still perfectly fine, and in this deck, she does a pretty good job. We can exile the top card of our library and cast that card if we want to. If we don't, then she deals 2 damage to each opponent. We can also plus her to add 2 red to our mana pool. For a -3, she deals 4 damage to target creature, and her ultimate, we get an emblem with whenever we cast a spell, this emblem deals 5 damage to target creature or player. The mana base is fairly simple and does contain one other thing that I'm not quite sure of. We are playing 15 Mountains, 2 Hanweir Battlement, and that is the card that melds with Hanweir Garrison. It does have utility in other ways, as for 1 red and tap it, we can give a creature haste until end of turn. Then the other thing that I'm not completely sure of is the one of Aether Hub in here. I do understand that there is minor energy things in the deck, and occasionally this extra energy can help you out. However, I'm not sure if it's worth the 3rd potential colorless source that could screw us over. It hasn't been an issue thus far. That doesn't mean it will not be an issue. And then 3 Looming Spires, a spell land. It comes into play tapped, and when it does, target creature gets +1/+1 and first strike until end of turn. Well, that's the deck list. Let's play a few games. Okay, this is a bit of a slow hand. I think we're going to mulligan and click the correct button. And we will keep this. Good thing we're on the play. That helps this deck tremendously. We'll play our Neonate out. Next turn we can give it +1/+1 and get in there for 2, hopefully, if it doesn't die in the meantime. Also, if we don't draw another 1-drop, we could just get in there for 5 with the Titan Strength. See if we can scry something good to the top of the deck. However, I think Bomat Courier is a more relevant thing to get into play. And so we shall. We'll go ahead and swing in there for 3. Get our trigger, exiling a card there. Hopefully we can keep this thing alive long enough to get a few cards under it and sack it to draw some cards. And we'll pass back over. We still don't know exactly what the opponent's up to. Okay, Duskwatch Recruiter looks like they are on a mid-range or aggro deck themselves. And I'm perfectly willing to trade this Bomat Courier plus a Titan Strength here. So we're going to... Well, actually, we don't even have to do that. We can Looming Spires and give it +1 and first strike. And we don't want to cast the Abbot. Good chance we won't be able to cast the card that it reveals. And as this has Menace, they can't block it. They only have 1 creature. Exile another. We're going to Titan Strength. Get in extra damage. See what's on top of our deck. Collective Defiance. I think that's a fine card. We'll keep that on top. Deal 6 here, taking the opponent to 11. Hopefully they don't stabilize, as we are dealing damage at a good clip right now. And the Duskwatch Recruiter won't flip, as we did cast a spell, which is good for us. Right, looks like they are straight Gruul colors, red and green. Sylvan Advocate can be a bit of an issue. We may have to take a turn off from getting in there to kill that with the Collective Defiance that's on top of our library. We could also just Lathnu Hellion and swing. Interesting conundrum. We can also Hanweir Garrison and wait until next turn to do anything else. Yeah, I think I'm going to cast the Garrison and just pass the turn. We don't want to attack with the Neonate. Its menace is fulfilled here. They can block with both of these, and we'll lose the Neonate, and they will lose nothing. And we will not be attacking this turn. Next turn, hopefully, we can kill this Advocate or whatever relevant threat comes up. An untapped land would be an excellent draw here. That Hydra is also a problem. We can't kill it, as they do have energy to spend to give it a +1 counter and hexproof until end of turn. We did, however, draw an untapped land, so we are going to play that, and I think we are just going to burn this Sylvan Advocate out. Argument could be made for burning the Duskwatch Recruiter, as it does have the ability to potentially find more creatures for the opponent. However, they're 2 lands away from this Advocate becoming large. Yeah, we're going to Collective Defiance and do 4 damage to a creature and 3 to an opponent. We'll do 4 here and 3 here. Again, I'm not for certain that this is actually the correct creature to be burning. It could very well be that the Duskwatch Recruiter should have been what I killed there. We'll see as the game goes on. And I would not feel sad at all if they were to attack with this Hydra and then not be able to play anything else, but I think that's a bit of wishful thinking. Collective Defiance of their own. They can play all 3 modes if they want to. They have enough mana for that. Looks like they're just doing 4 and 3. And they do not attack. Don't really blame them. They are a bit on the back foot. This is a great draw. Exquisite Firecraft is excellent here. We are going to play Hellion and see if they're willing to chump or trade for the Hellion. I think we're also going to attack with the Neonate, as if they block the Hellion, they won't be able to block the Neonate. And they choose to block the Neonate instead. That's fine. We're not going to sack it. I like both the cards that are in our hand. This 4 damage, if they have no life gain, should seal up the game. Exquisite Firecraft does have Spell Mastery. Not that they are showing any blue, though they could get it from the Aether Hub here. We do want to pay that. They're at exactly 4 life. They have a Brazen Scourge. We really don't care about that. Our life total is quite healthy at the moment. And I do indeed think that we win this game on our next turn. May get attacked for a bit here. Yeah, for 3, we will not be blocking. And we won't be attacking next turn either. We're just going to do 4 to their face with Exquisite Firecraft. And I will see you guys in the next game. Okay, I mean, that is a lot of lands. However, we do have 2 excellent 1-drops here, so I think I'm going to keep it. And I think we'll start off with the Glory Chaser, even though we could get an additional exile for Bomat Courier. I think it's more important to attempt to get the Glory Chaser to Renown status so that it is a 2/2 and has menace. It comes out to the same amount of damage, the only disadvantage being that the Courier exiles 1 fewer cards in the same amount of time. So we'll go Goblin Glory Chaser. Shambling for the opponent there. We'll see if we can get a bit more information on what they play this turn, see what they're up to. Right, showing Abzan colors so far. They're also holding up what could be Blessed Alliance mana. Let's go ahead and pump our Glory Chaser and play our Bomat Courier. And we'll swing for 3. Actually not sure off the top of my head which of these I would sacrifice if they do indeed have Blessed Alliance here. They both have their individual strengths and weaknesses, but looks like we don't have to make that decision, so that's great for us. And luckily we did draw Hanweir Garrison, so we have a play for next turn. We do need to be aware, especially if they play a second black source out here, that they could have a turn 4 Languish, and they do indeed play one out. Also, Liliana is quite bad for us. They're going to kill our courier, and we're going to have to spend our next turn with Titan Strength dealing with her. That will also protect our Hanweir Garrison from a potential board wipe here. So let's play our Mountain. We're just going to go ahead and Titan Strength. They're tapped out. Doesn't really matter when we do it. And we're going to bottom that Mountain. We don't need more lands at present, and deal with Liliana. That will be a big boon for us, getting her off the board. Though it does slow us down. We could have had them to 12 here, or if she hadn't been played at all, to 11 with extra cards under the Bomat Courier. Alright, it's looking like the opponent is not going to play anything. I think I still want to hedge my bets on playing out the Garrison, so we're going to swing for 2. We do have Fiery Tempers, so that gives us some reach. Potentially removal for a smaller creature if they should play it. Or just straight to their dome. And if we go straight to their dome, they are theoretically at 9 here. They're going to grapple, so they can get a creature or a land back. Looks like they missed completely. That's very bad for them. Quite rare you see grapple miss with cards already in the graveyard. Right now they're up to potential planar outburst mana. We're going to let them swing with this so they have 1 less mana to deal with us, and we are definitely going to Fiery Temper this Shambling Vent here. Takes away their life gain and their creature, as well as hurting their mana potentially. We don't know what they're holding in hand. And what is left? They've got an Isolated Chapel, a Swamp, and a Forest. So they still do potentially have up Languish mana. However, I'm not going to let that bother me at this point because we've got Akoum Firebird. And every land we play from here on out will be able to pay for its trigger to return it to the battlefield. So we'll swing for 5 there. And I'm feeling pretty good about this game. It very well could slip away from us, especially if they draw their other Anguished Unmaking and some additional control / life gain at this point. See if they fetch up a Plains, as we took away their second white source. Nope, another Swamp. There is the Languish. Well, now just about anything's a good top deck. An untapped land, creatures, more burn. Impetuous Devils is quite lovely. I think we're going to Garrison at the moment, though. We could just play this and for sure get in 6, taking them to 4. We would still be 1 short with the Fiery Temper in our hand of killing them outright. If this survives, that is very good for us. Well, there's a Smuggler's Copter, so maybe they're mid-range instead of controlling. Don't generally want the Smuggler's Copter in a control deck. Sure, there are exceptions to that, though. Looks like they're not removing our Garrison. That's great for us. So we are going to now play Impetuous Devils. Hopefully they let us go to combat so we can... Well, and it appears they are. Continue playing. We're going to swing for lethal if they have no removal with the trigger here. Alright. And it looks like that's it. These are some quick games. I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, I think this is a fine hand. We do need to rattle off some land drops, but we have time to get there. Not saying for sure that we will, but we have time to try. So we'll again go Glory Chaser into Neonate, into potentially Brazen Scourge if the draws work out. Haven't hit a third land yet. Doesn't mean we won't though, doesn't mean we will either. Alright, looks like they are on Hardcore Delirium. They have the Moldgraph Scavenger there. Alright, the Mountain is a great draw. We're going to see if they're willing to test this. If we have a Titan Strength, then we would blow them out here. However, we don't have that. They probably have to block, just to try to prevent this from getting renowned. And they do. It's a little bit of a brick wall right now. However, it can't block Neonate on its own, so that's good for us. And we will have Brazen Scourge on the next turn, for sure. And if we draw another untapped land, we'll have Chandra the turn after. Popping their Vessel there. Are they mono green? Maybe. Creeping Mold and Nissa. Don't see Creeping Mold that often. This is a fine card. We'll see if they fetch something not green here. Would imagine they're black-green, but yep, they surely are. Well, it looks like they did hit Delirium, so this guy is a 3/4 now. And so we can't really attack with Brazen Scourge. However, we were lucky enough to draw a Mountain, so we can for sure cast Chandra next turn. Well, let's get in there for one. Could also swing with this and then Fiery Temper this guy. But I don't want to do that, I don't think. Rather develop the board. Hopefully the opponent's not running Languish. They very well could. They're in the color for it. Well, come on now. See what else we see here. Not a ton. Well, we'll pass. And a second Scavenger. Alright. Into Obsessive Skinner. Is he going to counter up one of those or himself? Himself. That's good for us. It's a lot easier for us to deal with. Countered himself again. We need to kill him. So let's see, how do we want to do this? Chandra's probably the cleanest, however we would then need to chump to protect her. Fiery Temper gets the job done as well. I think we probably just want to Fiery Temper it this turn and hold Chandra till next turn. So we will do that. And we will just pass here. If we had one more mana there, we could have Chandra'd, killed one of these Moldgraph Scavengers, and then sacked Neonate and Madness, the Fiery Temper, on the Skinner. Obsessive Skinner there. Well, it looks like we are falling very quickly behind in this game, unfortunately, and we have kind of another must-kill card here. This time, I'm still going to hold off on Chandra. We're going to cast Abbot. See if we can hit something. We hit a Smuggler's Copter. I mean, I would like to cast this. This is going to make it so that we can't cast our Harness Lightning. But I think we need to get that thing into play. Would very much have liked to be able to kill this Kindly Stranger before they can do its flip here into Demon Possessed Witch, which destroys one of our creatures. And then we will pass. See, I think she's the same defense. Yeah, she just gets bigger on offense. Alright. We are not going to block here. As funny as it sounds, in an aggro mono red deck, we're going to try to outcard advantage our opponent here. So what we're going to do is start with Harness Lightning on the Stranger there. Whatever she flips to try to kill, we will crew the Smuggler's Copter with. So let's do that. Abbot will prowess there. Harness Lightning will kill the demon-possessed witch. And then we will attack. Oh, they have appetite for the unnatural. Last card in hand. That's fine. We will then go to our second main phase and play out our Thriving Grubs. We may have to start trading some of our stuff off to stabilize the board. If we can get Chandra in play and keep her alive, we could perhaps ride her to victory here. Okay, another vessel. That could bode very poorly for us. Not sacking it right away. What are they going to get? Well, I don't think they want Languish. They're probably just going to get the Inexorable Blob, though the Crop Sigil could be a thing. We'll see. I would not care at all if they languished. And they did take the blob. That's what I figured. I think we're going to trade for this turn. It is a 2-for-1, but I think we're in a position that we need to do this. Hopefully they will play that blob out so that Chandra can kill it coming up here. Which actually I think I'm going to Impetuous Devils and force it to block. I think that's a better play for us. Yeah, here we go. Go ahead and attack. Force this to block. Alright, so we'll get 3 through. Haven't done a lot of damage, but we have been on the defensive pretty much this whole game. Alright. I'm not going to block. We'll take the 6 and go to 11. They have another Scavenger. That is unfortunate, especially since it means we're going to have to chump next turn. And I think at this point we still can't cast Chandra. I am going to Copter into Glory Chaser. And hopefully they'll still swing with this Gnarlwood Dryad. That way we can trade the Copter straight up for it. If not, I'm probably going to have to trade the Copter plus Glory Chaser for one of these 3/4s. Okay, they did. Well, we definitely want to crew here with the Neonate. Hopefully that last card's not removal. And we will block here. And we're not going to block these other 2. Sure. Collective Defiance. Well, goodbye, Collective Defiance. I think Chandra is probably more useful at present. Alright, the last card was an Evolving Wilds. That's good for us. Now we just need to cross our fingers a little bit. Lathnu Hellion's fine. However, Chandra is now the play, I think. And we can't tick her up, unfortunately. We have to kill one of these threats. And luckily we do have enough here to be chump blocking. I'm not going to risk anything. I'm not going to swing with anything. I'm going to keep all these on defensive to try to keep Chandra alive. Could have reasonably swung with one as they were empty-handed and they can only top deck one card potentially. Alright, we are going to block with the Neonate. And we're not going to sack it. I would rather have the Hellion at this point. Okay. Let's exile the top card. And it's a land, we can't cast that, so that's 2 to the opponent. They do have 1 card in hand. I am going to Looming Spires on a Glory Chaser. And then I'm going to swing with the Glory Chaser. As much as I said we needed to sit back, we do actually need to kill the opponent before they draw into something to finish us off. Okay, that guy will become renowned. Then we'll play out our Hellion, and unfortunately, as aggressive a creature as it is, it needs to sit back on defense. Yes, please. We can keep this guy around for 2 turns with the amount of energy we have at present. Alright. Well, our opponent thinks that our opponent thinks that's the game. I'm not completely convinced myself. We are at only 4 life, though it very well could be the game. Hanweir Battlements is nice, especially if we draw a Hanweir Garrison. Let's exile. Yeah, cast that, please. That will give us enough energy to keep the Hellion around another turn. And we'll go ahead and play this Battlements. And this time we'll swing with the Hellion. Okay, still we'll need to keep our fingers crossed. Yes, please. We could just cash Chandra in next turn to kill this. That would mean she went bye-bye, though, so I'm kind of loath to do that. Alright, well, we are going to try to trade the Thriving Grubs and the non-renowned Glory Chaser. Oh, wait, we can't. It's misreading power and toughness there. We'll try to trade these 2 for it. If they have a removal, we do get kind of punished here. And they don't, so that's great. Now we don't have to worry about cashing in Chandra. And now if they have no removal, they're dead. So let's attack. Okay. Fiery Temper. And no matter what Chandra reveals, we are not going to cast it. Do not. Good deal. On to the next game. Okay, this is a fine hand, and we're on the play, so keep. This time, we will be playing the Bomat first. Well, sorry, they're replaced by AI. We'll still play the game, unless it turns out that they have no lands in hand. Some people just like to concede if their 7-card hands don't come out perfectly. If they have to go below 7, they just concede the game. Which is unfortunate. Alright, they are not mana screwed. At least not as of yet. That could be their only land. We don't know. Alright, well, Looming Spires. And we are going to attack first. If they have Galvanic Bombardment, we would like to protect our Courier with Titan Strength. Looks like they don't. Okay. So we will play Neonate. Alright, maybe up against another mono-red deck. Maybe just don't have their second color. Nope, there is Speed Racer. So, do we swing our Courier in, or do we Collective Defiance? Actually, we could keep it alive with a double Titan Strength, but that's wasting a lot of damage potential. Although Speedway Fanatic's not a great card to be Collective Defiancing either. However, I think I'm going to do it anyway. Continue to exile cards here. Hopefully this doesn't die this turn, but if it does, there's not really a lot we can do about it at this point. I think we've got 3 exiled. We do. Continue. Alright, looks like that they are stuck on 2 land. There is an Ember Hauler. I think I'm going to play our Abbot out here. See if we can hit maybe a land drop. Looks like we did. Awesome. And so, we are going to play our Insolent Neonate as well. And I'm going to sack this Courier this turn, I believe. So we'll attack so it can exile a 4th card. And then if they block it, we will pay the red, sack it, and discard these Titan Strengths and get those 4 cards. If they don't block it, we won't sack it. And they do, so let's do that. See what it had been exiling. Oh, that's a lot of gas. Excellent. Alright, finally hit their 3rd land drop there. Don't know for sure that they've been choked on mana. They could have as low a curve as we do. Well, there is Chandra, Fire of Kaladesh. She doesn't worry me too much, honestly. We won't be blocking this. We are definitely the beatdown right now. And then we will force Chandra to block our Impetuous Devils. And I think we'll go ahead and play out the Goblin Glory Chaser as well, just to save a little time. Attack. You block here, please. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Putting them to 6. We happen to have 6 points of burn in our hand, as well as a lot of damage on the table. 5 and potentially more with prowess triggers. Alright, Brazen Scourge. The guy has a little bit of a body on him. And attacking again. Oh, what can you do? It's the AI. They don't always make the best decisions. Though they do have the mana to sack this thing. Let's escalate this. We'll do 4 here and 3 here. Prowess trigger. They're going to kill it, that's fine. Because we are going to kill them. Could just sack a Neonate and play Fiery Temper. Also, we have several different roads to victory in this situation. And on we roll. So this is a situation when this Aether Hub is bad. We can't keep this. That's a lot better. Thank you very much. And we're on the play again. It just seems to be a trend today. Well, I'm not going to argue. It's very good for a mono-red deck to be on the play. Deal as much damage as we can before the opponent establishes themselves. Ah, looks like we could be up against another aggro deck, maybe even mono-white humans. And so we have a decision to make here. Do we want to play out Abbot without being able to take advantage of its card exiling? And I think we kind of have to in this situation. We'll go ahead and play this. We can't play whatever it exiles, no matter what it is at this point. And it was a Neonate, that's fine. We'll swing for 1. We've got Hanweir Garrison next turn. Hopefully they don't go turn 3 always watching on us. If they do, we probably just lose this game. Alright, no blocks. Alright, a first striker, that's bad. Probably have to fiery temper that now instead of Hanweir Garrisoning. Especially if they have some pump in their hand. So, die a Lone Rider. Lone Rider's especially scary if they draw their Angelic Destiny. Very glad that is a mythic, and they can only run 1 on Magic Duels. Consistently Lone Ridering into Angelic Destiny would be a nightmare, I think. Right, do they choose to keep racing, or are they going to hold back? They are going to race. Bygone Bishop, okay. A little more mid-rangey with their build here. We will play our Garrison. And swing with our Menace creature. Okay. So no always watching. Fingers crossed, no always watching. Always watching very bad for us. They got a Knight of the White Orchid, and they do get its trigger, so they could play something else once they fetch up that Plains. They could even have another land in hand and play a 3-drop. They got Declaration in Stone, probably here. Yep. Well, luckily we have this second one in hand. They couldn't really afford to wait to deck it, I suppose. Do we want to block? I think we do, because we're not going to be attacking with this Abbot into a first striker in any event. Another Neonate. So we're going to play out our hand. And best draw possible next turn if this survives. Hanweir Battlements. That's what we want to see. We have the land to activate and meld into this monstrosity. It is only a 2-of in the deck though, so, you know, odds aren't great. Or if they don't have a removal spell, they can't afford to not leave something back. Well, Thalia can brick Hanweir Garrison for sure. So now even, Hanweir Garrison. So now even the Battlements isn't a great draw because the defense on the melded portion is 4, and they have enough first strike to kill it. So let's sack a clue. Try to draw some burn. And lucky us. Feels kind of bad pointing a Firecraft at a creature instead of at the face, but I think it's fine. Oop. And they scoop. We're going to finish it out. Get our 2 humans attacking, they can block one with the Knight here. Taking 5. And pass back. They must not have very much in their hand if they scooped to that. Alright, Militia Captain. Let's hope they don't have a 4th creature here. Otherwise, we're still going to be scrambling to find removal for something. Alright, Collective Effort. I mean, that's good. Grow their stuff here. And they swing. So we're dead in 2 here. And Militia Captain can eat Hanweir Garrison. Fiery Temper's a great draw. So we kill here. And they will take 7, putting them to 1. However, if we attack out and they block here, they will take 5, and then we can just kill them with Fiery Temper. So that will be the line. Right, eat our garrison. And Fiery Temper your face. Alright. Well, I think that will do it for this episode of Friday Night Magic, friends. I do apologize if it's a little bit shorter than normal. As I said, though, at the beginning, I have been very busy trying to make a backlog, and other things in my personal life have just kept me from being able to do as much as I would like to lately. Nevertheless, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please leave a like below. It really does help tremendously. And hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more videos from me in the future. I have been Tevaron, and until next time, friends, be excellent to each other.